Hello everyone. Today we will start a new series of interview questions and answers. We will learn different interview questions related to CI/CD. It will be very helpful for your interview. So without any other delay, let's start. The very first question is, what is CI and CD? So CI/CD stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment or continuous delivery. It is a set of practices and tools used by development and operations team to automate and streamline the software development and deployment process. The CI/CD pipeline is responsible for building codes, running tests and deploying the new software versions. As all the processes like testing, integration and deployment are automated through this CI/CD pipeline, it helps team to deliver software faster with higher quality and reliability. So that's all about your CI/CD. We will move to the next question. What is the difference between continuous integration, continuous delivery and continuous deployment? So continuous integration is a development practice where developers frequently integrate their code changes into a shared repository. So this integration occurs multiple times in a day from multiple developers. After code integration, it is validated through automated test and a build procedure. So this approach helps in resolving integration challenges and rectifying bugs early in the development cycle and iteratively testing and refining the code. So every time new commits are integrated into the main branch, continuous integration emphasizes on automation testing and makes sure that application is not broken. So you can see here, continuous integration means first coding, then build, then integrate, then test. Okay. Then continuous delivery. In continuous delivery, all code changes like feature addition or bug fixes or configuration related changes are automatically deployed to the testing or production environment after the completion of build process. By automating the delivery of new code to users, continuous delivery ensures a safe, quick, sustainable process. Continuous delivery ensures that deployment are both predictable and consistently scheduled. Then continuous deployment. The most critical stage of the pipeline is continuous deployment. It is an extension of continuous integration where every change that passes the automated test is deployed to production automatically without explicit approval from a developer or QA. By following this practice, you will be able to release all changes that are passed all stages of the production pipeline to your customers on time. Code changes can be made live much more quickly at this stage because there is little human interaction. So continuous deployment helps in making the release faster. It helps to deliver the product faster. Okay. We will move to the next question. Explain the benefit of the CI/CD pipeline. So there are multiple benefits of using CI/CD pipeline. The very first one is higher efficiency. So CI/CD pipeline helps in incrementing productivity. Developers focus on solving the real business problems rather than spending time on fixing bugs or issues. Less to almost no efforts are spent on the maintenance as well. So CI/CD pipeline make higher efficiency, then reduced risk of defects. Automated testing in the CI phase helps in identifying bugs, errors and integration issues earlier in the development cycle. This allows for prompt resolution and prevents the accumulation of issues that could be more challenging to address later. Faster delivery. When CI/CD is set up, small code changes are merged very quickly and the code is ready for production very soon. That is why faster delivery happens through CI/CD pipeline. Reduced deployment risk. Frequent and incremental updates reduce the risk associated with big bang releases. Better collaboration aligns development, operations and other stakeholders, fostering a culture of shared responsibility. Automated process. Automating the release process reduces human errors and saves time. Okay. So, these are the benefits of CI/CD pipeline. We will move to the next question. Explain different stages in a CI/CD pipeline. Very important question. There are different stages in a CI/CD pipeline. The very first one is code commit. The first phase in a CI/CD pipeline is the creation of source code, where developers understand the requirement and write code for that. Then developers commit those code changes to a version control system, for example using Git. Then the next thing is build. The build process draws source code from a repository, establishes links to relevant libraries, modules and dependencies, and compiles or builds all these components into an executable file or .exe file. So, basically the code is compiled and built into executable artifacts in this phase, in this build phase. Okay. Then the next phase is test. In this phase, automated test cases like unit test cases, functional test cases are executed to make sure the newly developed functionalities are working fine. Also, existing functionality are working fine without any issues. So, there should not be any regression issues. Okay. So, using the CI/CD pipeline through test stage, we can verify all these things. The next is deploy. If all automation test cases are passed, then the code is automatically deployed to a testing environment. Then your release. After further testing in the testing environment, the code is promoted to production environment and gets released to the production environment. Then monitor and feedback. In this phase, applications gets monitored continuously in the production environment, and in case of any issue, it gets noticed fast and then get fixed very quickly. So, these are the different stages and how it works in the CI/CD pipeline. We will move to the next question. What are the popular CI/CD tools? There are several popular CI/CD tools which helps to automate various stages of the software development life cycle. The very first one is Jenkins. So, Jenkins is an open source automation server that supports building, deploying and automating any project. It has a large and active community, extensive plugin support and highly customizable. So, Jenkins is a very popular tool and it is used across the organizations. Then Circle CI. It is a cloud based CI/CD platform that supports the automation of the software development process. It integrates with popular version control systems such as GitHub and Bitbucket. Then Bamboo. Bamboo is a CI/CD server that integrates with other Atlassian tools like Jira, Bitbucket, and it supports building, testing and deploying applications. TeamCity. TeamCity is developed by JetBrains. It is a CI/CD server with support for various build and deployment scenarios. It has a user friendly interface and integrates with popular version control systems. Travis CI. It is a cloud based CI service that integrates with GitHub repositories. It is known for its simplicity and ease of use, and it is commonly used for open source projects. Azure Devops. It was previously known as Visual Studio Team Services. It provides a set of development tools including CI/CD capabilities. It integrates with Microsoft's Azure cloud services. We will move to the next question. What are the different tools you have used while implementing CI/CD pipeline? Very important question. There are different tools we do use while implementing our CI/CD pipeline. So, the very first one is version control. So, in our version control, or where do we manage all our code, it is like Git, GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, all these things we use. Then CI/CD platform. So, in our CI/CD platform, we can use Jenkins, Circle CI, Bamboo, TeamCity, Travis CI, Azure Devops. We have just discussed in our previous video how these CI/CD tools are very helpful. Testing, JUnit and TestNG for Java. We use JUnit and TestNG for Java language. Similarly, PyTest is used for Python, then Mocha for JavaScript. Okay, so these are basically the testing framework. TestNG is a testing framework used for Java, PyTest is a testing framework used for Python, then similarly Mocha is used for JavaScript. Okay, deployment, Docker for containerization, Kubernetes for orchestration, Ansible for configuration management. Then monitoring, for monitoring purpose we use Prometheus or Grafana. Basically these are the kind of dashboards, right? It will show the overall health or overall how the application is behaving in the production environment. If there are any issues, it will send us notification or it will notify the team, so team can work on that particular issue and fix it as early possible. Before customer experience the issue, team will get to know about it and then they will fix it. That's why monitoring is very important part of this CI/CD pipeline. Okay, and we use Prometheus and Grafana tools. What are the artifacts in context of CI/CD and why are they important? Artifacts are the output of a CI/CD pipeline, typically binary or deployable files such as executables, libraries, Docker images, which gets deployed to production. Artifacts are important because they represent the end result of the deployment process and that gets deployed to production. So, what are the benefits? Why these artifacts is so important? Because storing artifacts in a dedicated repository enables easy access and sharing among team members involved in the CI/CD pipeline. Artifacts ensure that deployments are consistent and reproducible across different environments. Artifacts provide a way to track and manage different versions of your software. So, when you have deployed your build in production and if you encounter any issues with your current deployed binary, you could revert back to an earlier build artifact using build version and you can ensure that your application is up and running. So, that is why this artifact is very important. Okay, we will move to the next question. How do you trigger a CI/CD pipeline? A CI/CD pipeline can be triggered in several ways like code push, schedule trigger, manual initiation and continuous integration. Okay, we will move to the next question. How to write CI/CD pipeline in Jenkins? To write a CI/CD pipeline in Jenkins, first you need to install Jenkins and required plugins. Then you can set up version control such as Git. You need to create a Jenkins file with build, test and deployment stages. Here I am giving one example of Jenkins file and you can save this Jenkins file to the repository. Then you can create a Jenkins job, link to the Jenkins file and trigger the job for the automated CI/CD process. So, that is how you can create a CI/CD pipeline in Jenkins. Okay, we will move to the next question. What are Jenkins and its main features? So, Jenkins is an open source automation server that supports building, deploying and automating any project. It has a large and active community, extensive plugin support and is highly customizable. Jenkins is a CI/CD pipeline tool. It can be used in almost every operating system like Windows, Mac OS and so on. It includes various plugins and packages that allows building, deploying and automating projects. There are various key features like the installation and upgradation process of Jenkins is easy. Jenkins provides a user-friendly interface. Jenkins includes various useful plugins and packages. Jenkins also sends us notification on changes in the build status. We will move to the next question. What are some best practices for securing a CI/CD pipeline? So, a CI/CD pipeline have access to all kind of sensitive data such as API keys, private repositories, databases and server passwords. So, there is a high chance it can be targeted by attackers. So, to prevent that, we should have some security best practices for our CI/CD pipeline. So, what are those? So, the very first thing is limiting access to the CI/CD system. We should have limited access. Okay, everyone should not have the access. Okay, ensuring secure storage of secrets and credentials. So, avoid storing sensitive information such as APIs keys, credentials directly in CI/CD configuration files or scripts. Use secure vaults or secret management tools to store the retrieved secrets securely. Ensure that secrets are not exposed to logs. Then regularly updating and patching CI/CD tool. This is very important. Okay, regular updates are required. Implementing code scanning and vulnerability assessments. So, you can regularly scan dependencies and libraries for known vulnerabilities. Utilize the tools that can identify and report on security vulnerabilities in third party dependencies. Then using signed artifacts and checksums for deployment, very important. You can use signed artifacts and checksums for deployment. Okay, we will move to the next question. What are some of the challenges implementing CI/CD? So, there are multiple challenges. So, the very first one is cultural change. CI/CD requires a change in mindset, also requires a shift in culture from traditional software development practices. Developers need to be willing to work in a more iterative and collaborative fashion, and operations teams needs to be more open to automation. So, there is a shift in mindset required. So, mindset needs to be changed to follow the CI/CD implementation. So, that cultural change is required. Legacy systems. Integrating CI/CD practices into existing legacy systems can be challenging. Technical challenges. Managing dependencies, especially in large projects, can be complex. Dependency management issues may arise from compatibility problems, version conflicts or unavailability of required dependencies. It requires choosing the right tool and setting up and configuring the CI/CD pipeline. Then security. Security is a critical aspect of software development, and integrating security into CI/CD pipeline is a challenge. Ensuring secure coding practices, vulnerability scanning and compliance checks requires careful consideration. Then integration with different tools. Integrating CI/CD pipeline with external tools, services or platforms can be challenging. Ensuring compatibility and smooth interaction with tools like version control systems, issue trackers and cloud services is essential. Then the next thing is very important, cost. Implementing CI/CD can be expensive, especially if you need to purchase new tools and infrastructure. However, there is a huge long term benefit in implementing CI/CD. Okay. So, these are the major challenges in implementing CI/CD. Okay. We will move to the next question. What is Docker? Docker is an open platform for developing, shipping and running applications using containers. Containers allows a developer to package up an application with all the parts it needs, such as libraries and other dependencies, and ship it all out as one package. This ensures that the application runs consistently across different environments. Any software that can be installed on a server can be packaged in a Docker container. It ensures that the software always runs the same in any environment. That's all about your Docker. We'll move to the next question. What is a container? Docker containers are actually Docker virtual machines. A container is a standard unit of software that packages up code and all its dependencies so the application runs quickly and reliably from one computing environment to another. A Docker container is a lightweight, standalone executable package that includes everything needed to run the software, including the code, runtime, system tools, libraries, and settings. Containers are isolated from each other and the host system, but can communicate with each other through well-defined channels. We'll move to the next question. What is Kubernetes? Kubernetes is an open source platform for deploying, scaling, and managing containerized applications. It offers a flexible, automated method to manage containerized workloads in various settings from development to production. Kubernetes can automatically scale the number of containers based on demand. It can also distribute incoming network traffic across multiple containers to ensure optimal performance and availability. We'll move to the next question. What is blue-green deployment? Blue-green deployment is a deployment strategy used in continuous deployment where two identical production environments are maintained simultaneously. Blue is known as the current stable version, where green is known as the new version. Then how it works? Initially, the production traffic is directed to the blue environment, which represents the currently deployed and stable version of the application. When a new code version is ready for release, it is deployed to the green environment, which is identical to the blue environment. After deploying to the green environment, automated tests and validations are conducted to ensure that new version is working fine and all the QA tests are passed. Once the new version in the green environment is validated and confirmed everything is fine, traffic routing is switched from the blue environment to the green environment. This makes the new version accessible to users. If any issues or critical bugs are detected in the green environment after the switch, it is easy to roll back by directing traffic back to the blue environment. This overall rollback process is very quick and minimizes the downtime. So, the key benefits of blue-green deployment include minimal downtime, the ability to quickly roll back in case of issues, and a high degree of confidence in the release process because the new version is tested in a production-like environment before being exposed to users. We'll move to the next question. What is canary deployment? So, canary deployment is a method of application deployment in which just a small percentage of production traffic is sent to the new version of the application, with the majority of traffic still being handled by the older version. As a result, the new version can be tested and validated before being implemented across the board in production environment. This approach helps identifying the issues or performance problems before a full release. We'll move to the next question. Explain how rollback mechanisms are implemented in CD. Rollback mechanisms in continuous deployment are crucial for reverting to a previous version of an application when issues are detected in the current version. Still, there are few rollback mechanisms like automated rollback script, version tagging, traffic routing, database rollback, monitoring and alerts, testing in isolation, post-mortem analysis. So, we will see what is this automated rollback script. So, CD pipeline often include automated rollback scripts or procedures that can be triggered when issues are detected. This script are designed to reverse the deployment by redeploying the previous version of the application. So, in that way we can easily roll back the version. Version tagging. Each deployment in CD is versioned and tagged, making it easy to identify and switch back to a specific known working version if problem arises. Traffic routing. Load balancers and routing mechanisms can be configured to quickly switch traffic back to the previous version of the application in case of issues with the new version. Database rollback. If database schema changes are part of the deployment, database rollback scripts can be used to revert the schema to the previous state. Monitoring and alerts. Continuous monitoring in production environment is essential for quickly detecting issues. When problems are detected, alerts are triggered and notified to the team, and then team can initiate the rollback process. Testing in isolation. Before deploying to the entire production environment, new versions are often tested in isolation, for example in staging environment. When issues are detected during testing, the deployment to the wider audience is halted and rolled back. Post-mortem analysis. So, after a rollback, a post-mortem analysis is typically conducted to understand the root cause of the issue. The analysis helps prevent similar problems in future deployments. So, these are the rollback mechanisms which are implemented part of CD. What is code coverage? Code coverage is a measure of how much code has been run by automated test. It is a metric for measuring the success of testing efforts and pinpointing sections of the code that needs further attention. A few examples of code coverage measures like line coverage, function coverage, branch coverage, statement coverage. What is line coverage? Line coverage is a metric that indicates how many lines of code has been tested. Function coverage. The proportion of functions or methods performed by test is known as your function coverage. Then branch coverage. It is a metric for determining how much of a program's branches have been tested. A branch is a place of code where the program makes a choice, like an if statement or a loop. Then statement coverage. The proportion of specific statements in code that have been run by tests is known as your statement coverage. We will move to the next question. What is a microservices architecture? The microservices architecture is a software design approach that decomposes an application into small independent services that communicate over well defined APIs. Since each service can be designed, tested and deployed independently, this method allows for better flexibility and scalability. In this picture, we can see we have divided our application into multiple microservices. So, each microservices can design, develop and test independently. Okay. So, each these services, these microservices are independent, and that will help in flexibility and scalability. That is why this microservices architecture is used everywhere now. Okay. We will move to the next question. What is observability? Observability is the ability to understand and diagnose the behavior of a complex software application using real-time monitoring and metrics. The main purpose is to proactively detect and resolve issues before end users notice them. Then what are the benefits of observability? It helps in proactive issue detection. It helps in efficient troubleshooting. With this observability, it helps improving the user experience. User can take better decision. Scalability, it helps in scaling up the application. Resilience and reliability, it helps team to understand failure patterns, so they can implement strategies such as automated failover, graceful degradation and fault tolerance to enhance system reliability. Compliance and auditing, it also helps in compliance and auditing. Okay, so these are the benefits of your observability. We will move to the next question. What is Grafana? Grafana is a web-based platform that allows users to create and share dashboards, alerts and panels to monitor and analyze data from various sources. It supports a wide range of data sources including popular databases like Graphite, Prometheus, Elasticsearch, InfluxDB, cloud services and APIs. Grafana provides an intuitive interface that allows users to create and customize dashboards easily. Grafana has a powerful query editor that supports various query languages including SQL, Prometheus query languages and Elasticsearch query languages. So, this allows user to perform complex queries on their data and visualize the results in real time. Then there are different features of Grafana like data visualization, alerting, dashboard and sharing, plugins. There are many plugins available for Grafana including data source plugins, panel plugins, app plugins. User can install and configure all these plugins easily from the Grafana interface. We will move to the next question. What is Prometheus? Prometheus is an open source system monitoring and alerting toolkit originally built at SoundCloud. This tool's primary function is to collect and store matrices as time series data. For example, suppose you have a running web application that is too slow. You can use the Prometheus to determine the response time of a web server or the number of active connections or queries in a database. Prometheus employs a pool-based model where it regularly scraps or pulls metrics from endpoints exposed by the system being monitored. This model is well suited for dynamic and containerized environments. Prometheus query language or PromQL is a powerful query language that allows users to retrieve and analyze matrix data. It supports various aggregation functions, filtering and mathematical operations. Can you explain the concept of infrastructure as code? Infrastructure as code defines and manages IT infrastructure using code rather than manually configuring servers, networks and other infrastructure components. This method allows automating, versioning and maintaining consistency across several environments. One popular example of an ISC tool is Terraform. So, Terraform uses a domain specific language known as HCL. HCL means Hashicorp configuration language to describe infrastructure resources and their relationships. With Terraform, you can create, update and manage infrastructure as code, making it easier to version control and maintain infrastructure configurations. We will move to the next question. What is a feature flag? Feature flags are also known as feature toggles or feature switches. These are a software development technique that turns certain functionality on and off during runtime without deploying new code. This allows for better control and more experimentation over the full life cycle of features. The idea behind this feature flag is to build conditional feature branches into code in order to make logic available only to certain groups of users at a time. If the flag is on, new code is executed. If the flag is off, the code is skipped. Then what are the benefits? Feature flags let us gradually roll out new functionality for users. By enabling a feature for some users and keeping the feature hidden from others, we can get feedback from specific users. We can do alpha or beta testing and use a feature flag to improve UX for some users, and we can see if that functionality becomes more discoverable or not. Another advantage is time to production become shorter. So, we can keep a feature flag disabled for all users except the developer and QA team. So, they can test and fine tune the feature before we roll it out to more users of our software. Once the feature is production ready, we can flip the switch for all users. There is no need for a new deployment in that time. So, that is the biggest advantage of feature flag. You do not have to do a new deployment, you just need to turn on or turn off the feature flag. Okay? We will move to the next question. What is the role of configuration management in CI/CD? What is the role of configuration management in CI/CD? Configuration management is managing and maintaining the configurations of software systems and infrastructure components such as servers, databases, networks using automation and versioning. In CI/CD pipelines, configuration management technologies like Ansible, Puppet, Ceph are frequently used to ensure that infrastructure and application configurations are up to date and consistent across various environments. So, that is the biggest role of configuration management in CI/CD. We will move to the next question. What is chaos engineering? Chaos engineering is the practice of intentionally introducing failures and other disruptions into a system to test its resilience and identify weakness. This approach enables organizations to proactively identify and address potential issues before they occur in production. You may get another question: what is the difference between kiosk engineering and testing? How kiosk engineering is different from testing? So, kiosk engineering focuses on finding potential failure points before they cause problems, whereas testing focuses on verifying the system works as expected or not. So, that is the main difference. Kiosk engineering is proactive while testing is reactive. Okay, we will move to the next question. Can you explain serverless model? Serverless is a cloud native deployment model that allows developers to build and run applications without having to manage servers. There are still servers in serverless, but they are abstracted away from app development. A cloud provider handles the routine work of provisioning, maintaining and scaling the server infrastructure. Developers can simply package their code in containers for deployment. Once it is deployed, serverless apps respond to demand and automatically scale up and down as needed. Serverless offerings from public cloud providers are usually metered on demand through an event driven execution model. As a result, when a serverless function is sitting idle, it does not cost anything. We will move to the next question. What is the meaning of trunk based development in CI/CD? Trunk based development is a branching model where most of the development work happens in a single branch, which is called as a trunk or master or main. The trunk receives daily merges from all developers in the team. The main use of trunk based development helps in decreasing the merge conflicts on version control, as trunk is a single source of truth for all development work. So, that is the major advantage of trunk based development in CI/CD. We will move to the next question. How do you measure the success of a CI/CD pipeline? The success of a CI/CD pipeline can be evaluated based on several key metrics like lead time for changes. What that means? The amount of time it takes from code commit to the code being deployed in production, that is known as your lead time for changes. How much time it takes, right? When you started writing a code or when you committed the code and the time it is taking to deploy it in the production, that is your lead time for changes. Deployment frequency. So, more frequent deployments usually point towards a more efficient and responsive development process. So, if you are doing a frequent deployment, so that is also a plus point for your CI/CD pipeline. Okay. Then time to recover from failures. So, if something goes wrong, how quickly you can restore the service. Quicker recovery times generally means your pipeline is well architected to handle failure scenarios. If anything is not working fine, how early you can restore the service. That is the one of the success criteria for your CI/CD pipeline. Okay, that's all. We have discussed 30 different CI/CD interview questions and answers. I hope this video is helpful for you. If you like this video, please press the like button, share it with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you so much. Bye bye.